What's up, what's up? What's up, what's up? What's up with the bingy band? Shout it. What's up, what's up? What's up with the bingy band? Hopefully this song will get out of your head sometime. Hi everybody, welcome back to Art the Funny Girl, Season 2, Episode 2. Thank you for joining us back for another week. We hope you enjoyed our first episode, Art of the Resilience, that came out last week.
Yes.
And let's get on with this show. This show is going to be titled
The Art of Being in Love.
Let's talk about
being
love.
loved. Let's talk about
Yes. So going from like the resilience part to like being in love and loving yourself more, you know, that's like the next stage I think we're both in right now.
Definitely. So we started episode 1 with updating you guys on what's new in our life or why we took the hiatus that we took, but we didn't jump into what we got going on now.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you're not following us on Instagram, you should be. And for those of you that have been keeping up with us, you know that I got engaged, I got married, and I had another baby. That is a lot. It's like boom, 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 baby.
Exactly.
2019.
No games.
I'm talking about we gotta get it done. It was a lot of knacking and tacking.
Please, don't say it.
But yes, we got married. We got engaged in 2019 to my boyfriend, my love, my forever. We got engaged. It is what it is.
Okay.
We'll let you say what you got to say. We got engaged March 9th of 2019, and then we ended up we set our wedding for April 4th of 2020, but of course COVID entered the chat, and we had to postpone it. So we ended up getting married June 20th, 2020, which actually ended up being perfect because it was Father's Day weekend. So we got married Father's Day weekend. We got to honor my dad in that special way, and then also Greg became an official stepfather to Jace Kensley, who we all know and love, my daughter. And then I had my son just this May 19th, 2021. He was born on Malcolm X's birthday, period. So you already know he about to be out here doing activism. But yes, he's 3 months old. His name is August Joseph Sherman, and Joseph is for my father, to honor my father, Kevin Joseph Oliveira. And yeah, he's such a cute boy. My sister keeps saying he looks like he's Middle Eastern, or he
literally looks Pakistani, and
he does not look like that. He does. He's giving
it's
melanin.
Giving Constantinople. It's giving
Istanbul to Constantinople. He's very brown, and I love that because my daughter is brown too. So they're like, Lo has these 2 little brown babies.
But she gave birth to 2 kids that look nothing like her. Like they both look like their fathers.
Yeah, August definitely looks like Gregory Sherman. He might as well have been Greg Sherman Jr. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. I'm raising 2 children with the love of my life, Mr. Greg Sherman. So I'm Laurel Oliveira Sherman. That's legally my new legal name.
I can't believe.
Yes, that's the name on my.
When she first told me she was changing her last name, it's like, you know, it's like the facts of life. Like, you know, that's like the next step of marriage. But it's just so crazy to live your whole life with your last name, and then all of a sudden it's something different.
It's still weird because I still use Oliveira on a lot of my stuff because the name changing process is very hard. Like from your passport to your driver's license to all that stuff. When you do that, you have to change everything over. So I've only changed it on my social security card for right now, and everything else still has Oliveira on it. And then eventually I'll slowly start doing that. Partially because I work at the airport, and like with TSA, you have to go through so much to verify who you are, and I would have to get a new badge and all that. So I'm like, let me just slow my roll, because that's a lot of paperwork that I just don't want to do. But what's going on with Raina Ford? Because Raina Ford got more news than me. So what's the...
No, I do not.
Raina Ford, do people want to know what's the...
I don't know how this happened, but I fell in love with somebody, y'all.
Oh, I fell in love! Let me, I
fell in love with somebody. So ironically enough, it is Laurel's husband's best friend, who he kind of always been in the picture. But we just started dating back in 2019, like shortly after my dad passed away. And it just really developed and blossomed into something I wasn't really expecting. And it's been like the healthiest, nicest relationship of my life, honestly. But I also recognize that like going through my own personal changes, dealing with the death of my dad and different things, I don't think I would have been able to receive him before the passing of my dad. It's like it was a total internal change in me, that having somebody like him come into my life, I definitely was able to like receive all of him and like be blessed, as opposed to like, you know, the knuckleheads I was dealing with before.
And you know, I think there's something to be said about that, because I was just talking to my good friend Giles. Shout out to Gilesy, because he be doing all my media stuff. But we had a really in-depth conversation the other day, and I was telling him, like, you know, when you really fall in love with somebody, I know from my experience, and I could say from your experience, like there's a shift in you that happens first in order to fully be in that relationship. Because I know for me, my journey with Greg was like, that was my friend first, and we were really friends. Like that's my dog. Like, you know that video by Cleopatra where she was like, I hang out with my boyfriend every day because he's fun. Like, he's fun. Like, that's me. Like, I hang out with him because he's literally like my best friend. And so for me, I always knew that I wanted to be with him, but our journeys never aligned that way at first. But I feel like it was for a reason, because God was really working stuff out in me that I had left over from previous relationships, and just ways about me that I needed to change, you know, like getting your temper in check and stuff like that. Because when you're in a relationship, you really need the tools to communicate properly. And I didn't have that, and I thought like, oh, I want to be in this relationship, but God was like, ma'am, you don't have,
you're not ready,
you're about to ruin the whole thing, because you don't have any tools, any skills, how to communicate properly in this new type of relationship, because it's not something that you put together, it's something that I put together. And when God put something together, you know, he's not the author of confusion and confliction. So I don't think confliction is a word, but
confliction is not a word.
But it could be, because it's like
it should
flustered. It should be flustered and confused. Confliction.
Get on it.
But anyway, so I would say it's interesting, because we're kind of like Mary, because you know Mary, they're sisters, and then they married two men, but the last names are both Campbell, so they ended up having the same last name. But our significant others were friends, you know, from the time they were kids, and then we're sisters. So it was like, it worked out. It was like, it's interesting. Wouldn't you say? Rashizi.
My boyfriend's here in the room now, but you know, we've had this conversation tons before, because I think that I told him when we went out on our first date, when I got back, I told my mom, I was like, he's too nice. Like, I don't know. Like,
wow.
And my mom was like, he's too nice. I was like, yeah, he's just too nice. Like, I don't really think that, like, I would bite him, chew him, and spit him out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's not nice. Rashad, I'm so sorry.
But I'm just being honest. That's how I felt. But then,
you don't deserve it, Rashad.
Our first date was a week before our dad passed away. So then obviously immediately afterwards, I wasn't ready to even entertain any situation. And then, long story short, we ain't got to get into the details.
Please, let's keep it private.
But we ended up coming back together like around July of that same year. So from March to July. And, you know, I had to kind of unpack some things, because I think when I was thinking about, well, why would I say that somebody is too nice? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That's also like a reflection of like self-worth and what you feel like you deserve.
Yeah.
Or like your suspicion of like, if somebody's nice to you, that they want something or they're not genuine. And that's like how the experiences that you've had.
Or you don't deserve someone.
Or you don't deserve
somebody
like why would somebody treat me like that? Or it's like the person that they sent on the first day is not really who they are. Like eventually the real colors are gonna show.
You just waiting,
you're just waiting. So I'm like, I'd rather you just show me who you are in the beginning and not open my door and like barely stop the car when you dropping me off, and then I know
do a drop the
road, and I know that's who you are, and then I can say, oh, I have all the facts in front of me, and I can accept that.
I think that's there's two things I would add to that. The first thing would be that I felt the same way about Greg. I felt like Greg was like really, if you've ever met Gregory or seen him or know him, first of all, he's very hilarious. He goes under the guise that he's not as funny as he is, but he's so funny. However, he's very calm. He's so calm. And I feel like being with him has made me more calm, but when I met him, I was not calm at all. So I remember one day having a conversation with my dad, who met him and approved of him and loved him and everything like that. And I was telling him, I was like, Dad, well, I don't know why he want to be with me, because I'm a rap scallion, baby. I can throw it down with the best of them. So he was like, Laurel, you need him. And I was like, because I don't like the way that sound. When you say I need somebody, that's sounding a little. He was like, no.
You just need somebody.
He was like, you need him, because he's going to balance you out, and he's going to bring a different perspective to the table. And then he was like, Greg is very analytical, which he is. He's analytical. The man will analyze anything down to, I love you, honey, I love you. But he's a math teacher, and he's very, I would say, left-brained, and he's very analytical. So for me, I'm totally the opposite. And when you bring those two together, it's a perfect match. So when he said that, he was like, no, he sees that, and he sees that in you, and you need him to really balance you out and give you that other side of, what you don't have. So that really blessed me in a way, and it really showed me, like, sometimes we really down ourselves, and we're like, I'm too rough, I'm too A-type personality, I'm too this, I'm too that, and I don't know why this person would want to date me or, be with me. But I feel like when you're with the right person too, there's this thing that's circulating where it's like, you want to be soft. Like, women want to be soft. Our nature is to be soft and to be nurturing and things like that. But a lot of times we are not in the environments that allow us to be like that. So when you get with somebody that does allow you to let your guard down, and they're genuinely a good person, because some people, like you said, you be waiting for the fox to jump out the sheep's clothes, not the fox, the wolf.
I'm like, what?
You be waiting on the wolf to jump out,
or the fox in the hen house. Is that what it is?
I was thinking wolf and sheep's clothing.
Is that like promiscuous? Like, what would it be, fox in the hen house?
I certainly.
I'm gonna Google. Y'all gonna get back to y'all.
I don't know what the fox be doing in the hen house. But yeah, you're waiting for the wolf to come out of sheep's clothing. Yeah. And you're just waiting for the other foot to drop.
But going back to my girl Iyanla, one thing that she said at one point was like, women, and you hate to be the cliche, but like daddy issues, right? But like, daddy issue doesn't mean necessarily always in a bad way. Right. Like, just however you experienced your father, one way or another, that's how you.
I give up, child.
The earring gave me problems.
I give up, but they're my favorite. But
I give up. However you experienced your dad.
I can't see.
Lois having technical difficulties. Her earring don't want to stay in her ear. But however you experienced your father, you find men like that, whether it's somebody like your father, somebody the exact opposite of your father, somebody that treats you like him or does stuff for you that he didn't do. At some way, shape, or form, it's in comparison to how you experience your dad, for better or for worse.
And it can be an unconscious thing.
Oh, it's for sure. I like the subconscious thing, because
subconscious, not unconscious.
I hope y'all ain't dating unconscious out here. We don't want no situation.
Y'all knew what I meant.
But yeah. Okay, sure. So I don't know if I ever shared this with you per se, but I was had been sitting and thinking right after Dad passed, and after me and Rashad went on a date, and I was like, I think that the reason why I had picked the type of guys I picked before, and they were all kind of the same in demeanor, like they were all like kind of dominant, kind of. Except for one, but like they just had that way about them where it's like I should be seen, not heard. Like we'll discuss it at the house, just those type of things. Like with Dad, right? It was like I knew he's like the man in our lives that's like no matter what happened, we can call him. Like if somebody ever mess with us, he's gonna get rid of the body and nobody ever know nothing about it. Like he's gonna ride or die for us, like no matter what. Like episode 1 we talked about, no matter day or night, what time it was, when you called him, he would show up, and you knew that. But he also would talk to you crazy, and he also didn't have like the respect that you would have wanted from him in certain situations, and and then seeing like the dynamic between him and mom and stuff like that. So what did you learn? You learned that a man that loves you is gonna ride and die for you, but he might not necessarily respect you, and he might not necessarily talk to you the way that you want to be talked to.
Deep.
And so you receive that, and you're like, oh yeah, he talked to me crazy and stuff, but he loved me, he gonna ride for me. So however he talked to me, it's like whatever. And for me, it's like that's how I receive. That's your first male relationship that means the most. So that's how I kind of received. And then I started to go down the line, like everybody that I dated, and it's like some were more extreme, some were less extreme, but they all fit in the same category of how they treated me, except for Rashad.
I feel like, and that's another thing that I would say is important, just kind of being like having a temperature check on yourself, and knowing before you fall head over heels for somebody, like what you are going to be like in a relationship, and what your preconceived notions and experiences are, because you can definitely bring those to the table, and it can impact your relationship. Like we said before, like getting into a relationship with it could be the right person, but the time may not be right because you have all of this stuff within you that you have not quite processed or been honest with yourself about. I know for me, and we always talk about this, like we have the gift of being able to like tear someone down with our words. Oof, like I can build you up. I can build you up, or I can read you down.
Yeah,
I can read. I'm talking about some novels.
Take these out.
And so for me, I have always had to use that kind of weapon in relationships that I've been in, where it's like, the mouth was nasty, and the Bible always says like, you have to be first of all, your tongue is a weapon, and also like you have to be you have to have a rein on your tongue. That's what it says. Like you have to have a rein on your tongue. And so for me, being in a relationship with somebody that's very calm spirited and really considerate and thoughtful, it's like you never want to make them feel bad with your words, so that was something that I think I was really working on with myself. Like, okay, even if we disagree, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going for blood, baby. Yeah. Like we disagree, we arguing. All right, we going in.
It's so true. It's so true.
So you don't have to do that,
because we had kind of like a crazy upbringing, right? And like communication amongst us all as siblings like has definitely had to improve as we've gotten older. And so if you don't communicate adequately with the people that's in your house, like the closest people, when you branch off into the world and you start getting into these outside relationships, and it's like the silver tongue, like you just slicing up. But I told Rashad too, I said, thank you for giving me the freedom to be who I actually am. Yeah. And I don't have to be this vicious person to defend myself or to protect myself. Like, and a lot of times you don't walk away from those type of situations and be like, yes, got him. Sometimes, but then sometimes you're like, dang,
I don't do that.
Man, what I learned to do? I wish you didn't have to go down like that. Like you don't ever really feel great about it.
But what I've learned is that and this is, first of all, I love you, husband. I do. We talk about this all the time. But what I've learned is that when you have God in your relationship, you don't have to do that, because if something is not going the right way, you can just pray like, God, if I'm wrong, reveal to me that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I mean, if my significant other is wrong, reveal to that person that they're wrong. And you know what? I hope this doesn't sound cliche, because it's really true. I've had that happen so many times where God will say to me like, you need to go and apologize to your husband. I don't even want to hear it. You need to go on in there and apologize. And then sometimes he'll come to me and he's like,
God, if there's a problem in the relationship, show me what the problem is. And you get on your phone and the front facing camera's on. All right.
It's you. And that's the bottom line. So I've had that moment where God be like, all right, it's definitely you. And and then I'll have a moment where my husband will come to me and I'll pray that. I'm like, God, your son acting up, Lord. Yeah.
But
he'll come apologize.
Even that is something that I'm not used to. Like, because I'll tell you why. When you actually get with the right, when you're used to like tumultuous situations or situations that don't bring the best out of you, or like that person is always like doing something wrong, you're always the savior in the relationship. You're always like the good one, right? And you don't really have to try, because it's like this person, everybody knows that like this person is the messed up one. So when you get with somebody that's like you and equally yoked, it shows so much about you
that you need to work
that's
on as
wrong.
well. Mm-hmm.
And you'd be like, dang, I was so used to being like the good person. Like, I'm wrong.
The good person.
The one that's doing right. Like, I'm not wrong. Like, it's not me.
Yeah,
It can't be me. You know what I'm saying? And that for me was like a major learning curve, because
they say your relationship should reflect. It's like a mirror, and it turns a mirror back on you, and it shows you like what you can be doing better. Also, and that's
so I think righteousness, like
that's it's righteousness. Yeah. It's like slow down, Abraham.
Whoa,
slow down, Enoch. Goodness gracious, you want to be called? I
don't know why I hate that name. Lord forgive me.
Enoch, it's very.
I don't like that.
And then we knew that man that name. Oh, excuse me, I don't want to say it on the podcast, but we know somebody name.
Okay. We know somebody name.
Moving on.
What they finna Google it?
But let me tell you though, Enoch in the Bible was righteous. He was so righteous that he was one of the only people in the Bible that never died. God didn't want him to experience death, so he just took him up into the sky. They said he just vanished one day and he took him up. God, let it be me, Lord. Don't let me experience death. Just take me on up.
I'm like 2,000 years old.
Take me on up.
Beat me up.
God said, Enoch, come on up. Yeah, it's like beat me up, Scotty. He just took him on up.
Just take me up.
Anyway, but you have that self-righteous mentality because you're coming out of a relationship where you're always the one trying to you're always the one trying to like prove that you have the better attitude, the better demeanor or whatever.
But you know another thing too?
So
I think the reason why we're able to like flourish, like obviously I'm not engaged or married yet, so there's other stages of life yet to be seen. Shut up. But what was I gonna say? Golly, between the two of you, I can't even.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, sorry, but no, I agree with what you were gonna say. I feel like when you know somebody's the one. You found it?
Yes.
Light bulb.
What I was gonna say was, I feel like I'm able to love Rashad more now because it's not performative. Like I don't feel like it's a love based on my
what I can
performance.
do, how good I am.
Exactly. And you and I talk about this a lot because in our family structure and our friend structure, I think people lean on us either individually or collectively being like the life or like the jokesters or like just bringing like.
Which is a blessing.
Which is, if it is who you are, then that's what you're going to bring. And so people only can rely on what they know of you to bring, right? But then sometimes, if you don't even have to be having a bad day, but maybe you just don't feel like talking today.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just want to relax. And it's always the assumption like, what's wrong? What's going on?
Greg said that to me this morning.
What's wrong?
She said, is my wife Laurel downstairs? I said, yes, I am. He said,
like it's a huge deal, and you don't really register that idea when you're a kid growing up.
Never
dreaming about marriage.
But like, I never dreamed about it. That's the thing. Like it's so funny because last night Greg was like, "Did you ever play with dolls and stuff?" And I'm like, "Actually, I don't think I did."
We tied up the Kenya doll to the bed and beat her.
Moving on. Moving on. I definitely didn't dream of like wifehood as a kid or like. My some people's ultimate goal in life is I want to be a wife and mom.
No,
that was not anything that I can honestly say I never really daydreamed about that. The only time I started really thinking about that is when I got engaged, honestly, and I started to get visions of like being at the altar and having a home and just dreaming forward. And I feel like that really started my dreaming process about that type of life, but it didn't start when I was a child, and now being a wife now, for me, it really gave me a bigger appreciation for like mom, for instance, having 4 kids and being married and trying to maintain a house and maintain yourself, first of all, making sure you're well kept and your butt's washed and your hair's clean and stuff like that. It's hard,
What's going on with the butt washing?
It's hard. When August was first, when you don't have no kids yet, but let me tell you something. When August was first born, me and Greg would be like, we have to stay on top of each other about the showers. We have to. Like, where are you on the shower schedule? When's the last time you checked in for
Did
the
you
shower?
shower? Are you on a 2-day schedule? Are you doing every other day? Like, what are we doing?
3 or 4
And
days?
I promise you,
4
I'm
days
not
is pushing it.
4 days is way too damn much. You're going 4 days.
Why aren't
without
these celebrities
putting
washing?
water between your cheeks?
Why aren't these celebrities washing?
You know, it's a different level of
What's
nasty.
going on?
I
Y'all
can
poop every day.
I can honestly say that it was like you're so exhausted, and then you're trying to make sure because the baby's eating nonstop, and not sleeping and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just hard. But I would say that wifehood, with the right person, is great. It's like the best thing ever. Like you feel like you're in your purpose. Like this person. Like yesterday, Greg and I sat in our sunroom and we were just sitting and talking about, we were doing our morning devotional in the Bible and stuff. And I just felt so grateful to be like, man, this person, God made this person for me and made me for them. And we get to go on this purpose journey together,
Right.
And really dream together because we have dreams and goals and stuff that we want for each other and for our family. So it's I mean, I enjoy it so much. And I hate the stigma that people put on marriage where it's like, well, you're gonna be with this person for the rest of your life and this and that. I never subscribed to that, but now being married to the love of my life, I feel like, nah, y'all gotta really mess up because it's really fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Being with him is fun. Like, we do a lot of stuff together, but we also have our individual stuff. Like, you know, he's a realtor, he is a teacher, he has his goals for his business and stuff like that. And I respect him a lot. I respect his work ethic. I respect his space. I allow, not allow him, but I want him to go hang out with his friends and have his own friend group. And he's like, always like, Laurel, go hang out with your sister, go hang out with your friends, Real love is not gonna hold you back and make you feel like, now, like, Cleopatra said, let that girl out the house. She needs to see her friends. Like, that's how I feel like people kind of put the stigma on relationships and marriage, and it's not supposed to be that way whatsoever. So what in terms of what I would say before getting married and before getting engaged, I would definitely say you have to do the work beforehand before you get in a marriage. And it makes me so sad because we've seen a lot of marriages and stuff like that are falling apart or that are going through.
Yeah.
And it makes my heart heavy because it's like, man, like you don't want that for anybody. But it's so important to look into yourself before you get with someone else, and also as a couple do the work. Because I can honestly say that when Greg and I do not agree or we're going through something challenging, we always come back to one another, and it's not something that breaks the relationship because it's like we have very serious conversations beforehand. Like, I remember when I was in not to dominate the conversation, please jump in whenever. But when I was in flight attendant training, Greg would come to the hotel that I was staying at. We stayed in the hotel for 2 months to train, and he would come there and we would sit down and have dinner in the hotel lobby, and we had conversations like, what was the worst thing you ever did in your life that you regret, that you feel like if you could take it back, you would? And like, what's something that you have done that you're ashamed of, or something that you've done that you're really proud of? But, it gives the other person the opportunity to say, so you was doing what? So you had went, okay. So you, like, it gives you the opportunity to be like, I don't think I'm going to work out because there's, lines that you draw in the sand that you're like, I can deal with this, or I can't deal with this.
I always talk about having like designated deal breakers, like
real
clear, and that has really nothing to do with the other person. That has everything to do with like understanding who you are and giving yourself a fair chance, and not saying, well, I think I could deal with that if it's this person. Like, be honest with yourself. Like, I know
the girls be giving dishonesty.
The girls be giving dishonesty and giving themselves misery because you're not telling yourself the truth. And I know that X, Y, and Z, I don't care who it is, I cannot deal with.
Nope.
It's an absolute deal breaker for me. And like having those lines in the sand, and then also being humble enough to have the art of compromise. If we're gonna talk about the art of something, like knowing that
the art of compromise is very important.
Dr. Phil said.
Dr. Phil is controversial, and I know
why is Dr. Phil controversial?
The girls say he's racist and that he be trying to, and he sent the girls to that little ranch. Remember, he sent the girl that said, "Meet me outside," to that little ranch.
Listen.
sometimes you gotta separate.
No.
He's sending the girls to that ranch. I gotta do my research. I gotta see what's going on with Dr. Phil. But Dr. Phil said, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And it's like one of those phrases. I'm the type of person where I can hear a phrase and it changes my whole perspective on life. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, what does that mean? But it's like sometimes you have to really like be able to dissect the situation and be like, is it really that important for me to be right in this situation? Or is it important for me to be happy? That doesn't mean let stuff slide that's like outrageous and ridiculous and like he's slapping you upside the head and all types of stuff and stealing your car and all types of like, but really be honest with yourself. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? And learn how to navigate those situations and make those determinations and be honest with yourself. But I also think that it's virtually impossible to have a happy, healthy relationship if you don't know who you are and you don't love yourself. That's an obvious given. I mean, but it's so, I think that if you don't know who you are, you need to take time to do that before you even embark on trying to be in love with anyone. Because I feel like when I got with Gregory, I learned that no matter what, I have to be whole, period. It's not he completes me around, the girls be giving half and half. And it's like
The girls be giving.
I'd rather live in his world.
I'd rather without him in mine.
I'd rather go blind.
Excuse me.
Boy,
You rather go blind.
no ma'am. You're giving Stevie Wonder and I'm giving no. So I feel like I had to learn that I have to be whole and then he has to be whole and then we come together as two wholes and it's not half and half because at the end of the day it's not half and half. The girls be giving skim milk. Giving 2%. The girls is giving reduced fat. You know? And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, because the thing is, when that person leaves, you have no identity outside of them. You don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You are in shambles. And I've experienced that. You know what I'm
me
saying?
too.
I've experienced
relationships, and then at the end of the relationship, I come up for air, and it's like I've done nothing.
It's next level heartbreak.
I've done nothing with my life.
You're in the mirror,
years.
unrecognizable because you have to really piece yourself back together.
Oof.
So I feel like for me, I look at my husband and I see him. He's so whole. He's so. He knows who he is and he walks and like I've been seeing him and he be so confident, especially when he be talking that necking and tacking, when he be doing the real estate talk on the phone. He be doing it
necking and tacking because we don't need to talk about what's going on in the bedroom.
I would never disclose that information. Don't even do it. It's off limits. Don't even get into it.
Okay, I was hoping that it was off limits.
It's very off limits.
You
would never.
The Pandora's box.
My God. My.
We dropped all down in there.
No. When he's talking business and doing real estate deals, I'm just so in awe. I'm like, wow, he's really confident. He really knows his stuff. You know, he's just him, you know, and he always says it to me. He's like, man, babe, I'm so impressed. Like, you're really like, especially... And just to add this nugget in there also, when you add pregnancy in the mix, my God, today, you just need somebody that's really going to be there for you and really encourage you because you go through so many changes. You know, having 2 kids now is like your body goes through changes, your emotions go through change. Sometimes you wake up and you're sad and you don't even know why you're sad because it's just like your hormones are nuts. And you're just crying or you just feel big and you need somebody that is going to uplift you and is going to speak life into your spirit. And that has to be on if you were somebody that already don't know how to speak life into your spirit and then you get pregnant, girl, the spirit is going to be.
Or like, why y'all be marrying people and the whole relationship before marriage was terrible?
I mean, people think marriage is going to fix the issue, but
it just makes it harder to break up and it's more expensive to break
definitely. And it's going to amplify every problem that you've ever experienced, or not even problem that you've ever experienced, but it's going to amplify things that are within you, you know, and within that person that you never even addressed before. Like, I can honestly say this, I'm so grateful to even be able to say this, but me and Gregory, we don't argue like that. Like we have
that's the thing.
We don't be going at each other's necks all the
Yeah.
time, where it's like, this is very toxic and it's very
Yep.
and I've been, again, I'm speaking from experience of like, I've been there where it's like this, I'm going balls to the walls.
Yeah.
I'm turning the car around on the highway, like,
Yeah.
we going into the median.
You look back.
We going into the median.
Listen, me and Rashad was just talking about that the other day, and I
It's
was like, you
no.
know, we were talking about a story in particular where somebody, a couple was having like some trouble. And I was like, you know, in my past life, the story you're telling me, I would be able to realistically visualize it. And be like, oh, yup, I see why she did that. Uh-huh. Now it's so foreign to me. That's like, people really be acting like this in a relationship. Like, why would you want to be with that person? But I've been there. I've seen it. I've been there. And literally every day I tell him, like, I'm so happy you're home. I'm so happy that you're here. Like, every day that I see him, I feel happy. I feel happy that he's here. And I'm like, oh, what did I get myself into? I'm here with this guy now. You know,
and I'm not
I can't get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel that way at all.
Because I feel like, you know, well, I'll just say this. Both of us have lived, you know, with someone without being married, you know, to that person. And I know a lot of the older
up.
Yeah,
as we speak.
Shacky. It's giving Shane's red shack. No, I mean, when we were engaged, Greg and I were engaged, and we moved in together, and everybody was like, "Oh, you guys are not married, but you're engaged. I mean, but you're moved in." You know, we come from the church.
Who said it?
I will not disclose because I respect everyone's opinions. But there was some, you know, some up and down opinions. But the thing about it was, I thank God for that time because it really showed me that I could live with this person. Yes. And you know, we had already
signed on the dotted line, and it's like, wow.
And you know what's crazy? We were already committed to. We knew we were getting married. Period. You know, and at that point we were already engaged. So it was like, it was set in stone. Like, this is my person that I'm committing my life with. So we moved in together, and it showed me so much. Like, I enjoy being with this person. I enjoy living with them, and I can live with them. Like, it's not like I moved in with him and he's like, for example, let's say you don't move in and you get married. You're living with this person. They're a pig. You know, the house is a mess all the time.
Right.
The shoes are giving athlete's foot. Oh, I mean, it's not giving what it needs to give in terms of, this is the person that I want to live with. Is you're coming across all these coexisting issues. And so for me,
and then especially with you, like, already having Jace, like,
correct,
how, you know, what's the dynamic at the house with the kid? Like, it's just a lot of layers. And I feel like, I don't know, like you said, I respect other people's opinions, like, when it comes to certain things, and like marriage first, and then I feel like marriage is such a finite thing. Like, obviously you can get a divorce, but that's not where you're going into marriage. You're not intending to get a divorce.
I'm gonna be with Mr. Sherman too.
But I feel like sometimes it's certain things that it's real risky to just already be married, and then now you're living together. You never lived together before. Like, there's certain people that don't even believe that y'all should sleep over. So it's like, you have no idea of how this person is in a live-in setting. I feel like that's such a
it's a risk. It's risky.
It's risky.
I'm not saying that you can't do it, because obviously if you trust God can. If it's aligned with God, it's always going to be aligned, and it can work out. I'm just saying, for my personal experience, although there were some, you know, opposing thoughts about us moving in with one another, I'm grateful to have that experience, because once we got married, we had already been acclimated to, like, okay, we have Jace, and, you know, Jace is my daughter biologically, but Gregory has been in her life since she was 1 and has been raising her. So alongside her dad, because her dad is very present in her life as well. Want to just make that clear. But in a house environment, it was like, he's very involved in her life. Like, how do you drop her off at school and pick her up, and, you know, what does that look like for us as a family? So by the time we got married, it was like, girl, ain't nothing changed. After we got married, we came home, and it was like back to our life, you know.
Back to the same pot.
Yeah, back to our life, and it was just a great preamble to preamble. Come on, great wordsmith. Preamble. You gotta use a preamble in your everyday life? No. So anyway,
when the last time y'all said preamble?
Right, because the girl slid that in there real smooth. But do you have any last thoughts about the art of being in love? Because we're going to move into the art of gratitude, like, you know.
For me, the art of being in love is the art of being loved. Like, accepting that love.
On that.
Accepting the love. Accepting the love, like,
from your family, from the people that really care about you. And for me, that was always an issue because I never felt, I don't know if worthy is the word, but you just never really felt, I never really felt like people were genuine when they were telling me nice things about myself or complimenting me on like on my singing or whatever it was. It was just like, you're just in my mind. It's like, that's not really how this person feels. I never really was able to
Trick of the enemy.
stuff. And so I think it made it very difficult for me to find the right person when I already didn't feel internally that great about myself. And
so self-love is...
Yeah, but I don't think I realized I was that person.
Yeah.
Because, like, I never felt like I was a person that struggled with self-love. That seems like somebody else. It's not me. Yeah. But then when you start to unpack, like, all the little things, and it's like, okay, there was a roadblock here.
Right.
That prevented you because the love was there all along. You know, we've had the same friends for years. We've had the same, you know, family. Obviously, we're sisters. But I always felt different, like, in a way. Like, I always felt like it wasn't genuine. So once I realized what that roadblock was, and then all the love that started to pour in and the things that started to change in my life because of it, because I was able to receive it in totality, then I have somebody like, you know, my boyfriend now who, you know, I'm waiting.
Don't do that because...
Okay, because I did on episode 1. I'm doing every episode too. No. And then I'm going to do an episode when he actually does it and be like, look, y'all. This what happens when you
God gonna snatch
and
the
you
blessing.
pray.
You know, God gonna snatch the blessing up. It's giving rush.
But I what I'm saying is you're never gonna really be able to feel the love. You know, sometimes God puts God puts people in your life to show himself to you, to show you how much he loves you, to show you that he's there for you. And you're like, God, no, nobody cares. And it's like, yeah, but you're not opening the peepers. You're not really, you're not receiving
let there be light.
You know, like that. I tell this story all the time. I know he's sick of it. But it's like, you know, when somebody's drowning and it's like, God, help me.
Oh, yeah.
Help
I know
me.
that one, yeah. And he's like, I sent you a boat.
And then the boat passed by and it's like, God gonna save me. Don't worry. And then it's like, God, then you die, you go to heaven.
That's from Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, but I'm telling it to the people. Y'all watch Pursuit of Happiness. But the long and short of it, but the long and short of it is, God sends you him in ways that you wouldn't expect. And the people, maybe it's not people that's like long-term people, but just like the people for the moment, to show you his love and to show you his kindness. But you have to be receptive to it. You have to be able to recognize it when it comes your way and to hold on to it and take it in for what it is. And so I feel like once I was able to do that, I mean, everything changed for the better.
Yes.
And even when bad things happen or situations don't work out for the way you feel like they should, I still don't feel like upset or like totally devastated because I get to look around and be like, well, you know, I still got this person, I still have this.
And on that note, that's a great segment into the art of gratitude.
Okay, well, go ahead, girl, pop it off. Preamble.
That was the preamble to the art of gratitude.
Oh,
you see that
double preamble,
double. Put me on the Price is Right. I mean, not Price is Right. The Wheel of Fortune.
The price is wrong.
Greg want to go Price is Right so bad.
Oh my God.
He said that's his dream.
Give it a wrap.
But you know, every episode we're gonna end with the art of gratitude.
Yes.
And I will honestly say, since it's the art of being in love, I would say I'm grateful immensely for my husband, Gregory Carlton Sherman. I feel so blessed to be his wife, to be his partner, his helper. I feel grateful for my children, Jace Kensley Turner, that girl, and my son, August Joseph Sherman. It still blows my mind that I have a son and that his name is August Joseph. Like, come on. Like, that's like
And he's Pakistani.
No, he's
yes,
not.
He is.
Get out of here.
When he starts talking, he'll be like, welcome to 7-Eleven.
That is very, wow. No comment, because that was very rude. I apologize to my Middle Eastern
art of gratitude,
brothers and sisters. I stand with you.
I Pakistan with you.
I stand with you because what? But anyway,
y'all have me to see her son. He's
very
very
grateful for my baby and my babies, and then like you said, all that God has brought me through, and so I'm grateful for my husband, grateful for my children, and I'll shoot it over to you real quick.
Art of gratitude. I'm grateful to God for being able to
let go of those roadblocks, those things that were in my way, to receive the life and what he had for me and the happiness, because God essentially wants you to be happy. He doesn't want you to live a miserable life. That's not what he wants for you. I'm grateful for my future engagement. I know, I feel it in my spirit, y'all. It's on the rumblings. It's coming. And I claim it in Jesus' name.
The people is just sick.
But no, I'm grateful for the love of my life. And his name is Rashad. Y'all don't need his whole name, because no. But his name is Rashad. And I'm grateful for it. Now, when he proposes, then if I say his whole name, then you know he proposed. But I'm also grateful for my nieces and nephews. I didn't even touch on them. Unfortunately, I'm gonna keep it brief. But even before I was dating anyone, I mean, they showed me, you know, like we need to think about like unconditional love. And somebody just thinking that like you're just up here and you're like the best thing. That was like I never expected that, because they're not my kids, but they are my kids.
They love her so much.
The love that I get from them, like when they call me, when they want to be around me, when they think I'm just so fun and so interesting, it's like, you know, you get something from that. You get some type of validation, and really like it's the chicken soup for the chicken soup for the auntie soul.
For real.
It really is like the best thing. And so because I know that from them, I can only imagine what it's like when I have my own kids.
Yes.
But I am grateful for that. And I'm grateful for my mom. Me and my mom are like really, really close, and I feel like, shut up. But I feel like the love that I'm able to show her now that I wasn't able, like we just didn't have that relationship before, I don't think. But like now I understand her more as like a person and not just like my mom. And so the way that I love her and show love to her is different. And I can see
You're making me look bad. Mom, I love you too.
No.
I love you too, Mom. And I'm here for you also. And you can call me also. And we can share a bond also.
Too.
So,
but yeah,
it's
I'm grateful for my
child vibes. And
I'm the middle child. I got 2 older, 2 younger.
It's not giving.
Look, if it was a Lifetime movie, nobody's rooting for my character. Okay, I am dead center. It's not about me. Nope.
And on that note, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful.
We will see you guys next week,
and we'll see you on the next episode. Make sure you're following us on all social media outlets. I am at Just Low on Instagram, 2 T's on the Just, LO. And Rainford is __ quick letter, hump it. What's your
Lindsay
media?
With an AY __ Raina. That's RAYNA. I also do makeup.
Yes, do the makeup. Shameless plug in Jesus' name.
Shameless plug in Jesus' name, called Raina Beauty Co. You can find my page through
Raina Beauty Co. CO like company.
Yes.
And also, last but not least, make sure you're following the podcast page, because you don't want to miss it. Make sure you turn on your notifications. It is at AOTFG Podcast. That's at AOTFG Podcast. Is that the police? Who flashing the lights? And we'll check you out next time.
Bye.
Peace.